What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sports PSP. Hope you all enjoying the rest of your Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day, time, and location you're at. Want to talk about some NFL news. The big game of the week is the Philadelphia Eagles traveling on the road against the Dallas Cowboys on Christmas Eve. Now, the Cowboys are the favorites to win that game in large part because of two reasons. One, they're at home, and their record at home is 7-1. The only home loss they've had this season was the season opener against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's number one. And number two, there's a possibility that the leading MVP candidate, Jalen Hurts of the Philadelphia Eagles, may not play because of a sprained shoulder he suffered in the game against the Chicago Bears, which is on his throwing arm. Now, the Eagles haven't ruled Jalen Hurts out as of yet, so it's uncertain whether he'll play or not. We don't know. We have to wait for further evidence. And if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you're coming off a tough loss against the Jacksonville Jaguars in overtime. So here's my take. I have the Dallas Cowboys to win the game 25-20. But if I'm the Eagles, I shouldn't lose any sleep off of it. Number one, first and foremost, do not let Jalen Hurts play in that game. Sit, let him rest, get as much rest as possible for next week so that he can be ready to go against a less superior team, which is the New Orleans Saints. Okay, you want to make sure Jalen Hurts is ready to play in that game and ready as much as possible for the playoffs in order for the Eagles to compete for a Super Bowl. That's number one. And number two, even if you lose this game against the Cowboys, first of all, you already beat them. And second of all, even if you lose, you're 13-2. You still lead your division, let alone your conference, the NFC. The road to the NFC is still going to be at Lincoln Financial Field at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So the Eagles should be fine. However, I could understand why the Eagles would want Jalen Hurts to play. Because if he doesn't play, then guess what? It hurts his MVP chances. As of now, I still believe Jalen Hurts should be the leading candidate for the MVP. I have Jalen Hurts 1, I have Patrick Mahomes 2, I have Joe Burrow 3. I can understand the Eagles probably wanting him to play because they want him to elevate or to intensify his MVP chances. That's number one. And number two, of course, he gives them a better chance than Gardner Minshew, of course. But if I'm Dallas, I shouldn't walk in with this mentality that just because Gardner Minshew might play, all of a sudden we good. We don't have to worry about the Eagles. Nah, if you underestimate your opponent, if you feel like Gardner Minshew gives you no threat whatsoever, then guess what? You're going to lose that game, and you should, because you underestimated your opponent. As Rudy Tomjanovich once said, head coach of the Houston Rockets, never underestimate the heart of a champion. So if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you need this win. Even though you already clinched a playoff spot, but you need this win more than anything than Philadelphia, because I believe you're the more inconsistent team. And what we've seen from the Dallas Cowboys the past couple of games, they've been inconsistent. The Texans game, and the game against the Jaguars. And if Dallas, this could be it for you as far as making a strong playoff run. You know, people talk about Mike McCarthy, and I don't think Mike McCarthy is good enough as a head coach. I think he's terrible when it comes to clock management, and he's proven he's nothing more than a product of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. Jerry Jones ain't getting any younger. Let's just keep it a buck 100. Let's keep it a buck 50. Jerry Jones ain't getting any younger. I'm just being straight. I'm just being honest. And I think Jerry, when is he going to come to the realization that his way isn't the best way for the Cowboys to win a Super Bowl? And the pressure is also on Dak Prescott as well, because Dak got his money, and Dak he was known for taking good care of the football. Over the last 9 games, he's thrown 11 interceptions this season. Now I want to read this interesting stat. This is from John Oenick, who is the editor of Pro Football Focus. I'm just reading you this tweet that he put out. Just a reminder that Dak Prescott ranks 8th in accurate plus percentage and 9th in overall accuracy percentage. Another fun fact, Dak Prescott is tied for the most interceptions, 6, on plays that weren't deemed turnover-worthy plays, meaning they weren't his fault by Pro Football Focus. So 6 of Dak Prescott's 11 interceptions weren't his fault and weren't deemed as turnover-worthy. But whether it's his fault or not, the fact is the turnovers are there. In the past 4 games, Dak has thrown 7 interceptions. 3/4 of those games, he's had 2 or more interceptions. And those games were the Giants on Thanksgiving Day, Houston, and against Jacksonville. So Dak overall this season hasn't done his part taking care of the football, and he has the highest interception rate in the NFL, which is 3.9. The worst of his career as well. So I think for Dallas's offense, you're going to have to try to run the football, and you're going to have to try to help Dak Prescott save him from himself, even though, as I read, some of those interceptions weren't his fault. But the interceptions, the turnovers are there. So Kellen Moore is going to have to figure out a game plan to help his quarterback. And as for Dallas's defense, Dan Quinn, there's going to be a lot of pressure on you. And I think you've done a great job with this defense overall this season. If Dallas's defense, and the past couple of games, they've been inconsistent. If Dallas's defense continues to go on this trend, this will actually cost him of a head coaching job. Now, Dallas's defense needs to play with that same swagger and energy, just like they did when they went on the road to Minnesota and beat down the Minnesota Vikings. Micah Parsons needs to have a statement game against the Philadelphia Eagles, because remember, he went on Von Miller's podcast and he said, is it about the team or is it about Jalen Hurts as it pertains to Jalen Hurts' MVP chances? Micah Parsons needs to make a case for Defensive Player of the Year. You could actually make a case for Nick Bosa as the leading candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, Nick Bosa of the San Francisco 49ers. Micah Parsons has 13.5 sacks this season. You know, the past couple of games before Jacksonville, against Indianapolis and Houston, he had no sacks. He had 1 sack against the Jaguars. If Micah Parsons wants to have a statement game against the Philadelphia Eagles, he's got to dominate and he's got to eat. He has to have a statement game to give the Cowboys a great chance of winning, which I have the Dallas Cowboys to win that game, as I said, 25-20. But what it all comes down to with Dallas, in order for them to win this game, they have to win the turnover battle. They have to cut down the penalties. And they have to play smart, clean football. And the crowd, the atmosphere there, the fans got to be there, which they should. All the signs lean towards Dallas to win that game, because possibility of no Jalen Hurts. You're 7-1 at home. You're coming off a tough loss against the Jacksonville Jaguars, even though you clinch a playoff spot, but the clock is ticking. Mike McCarthy, again, clock management. You've had those issues. You said you're going to fix them. You said you're going to fix the penalties. Are you sure? Dan Quinn, I think you've done a great job with the Dallas's defense. You've been the MVP, but lately, this defense has been inconsistent, and if you have another stinker, this could actually cost you getting a head coaching job. Kellen Moore, the offensive coordinator, you better draw up and dial up some plays in order to help out your offense. And if you're Dak Prescott, as I said, you have the highest interception rate. You've thrown 11 interceptions in 9 games, even though I just read the stat from Pro Football Focus that half of your interceptions weren't on you. But regardless, the interceptions, the turnovers are there. And you've gotten your money. You've gotten a ton of money. So you better win this game. I got the Cowboys 25-20. Yes, I would love for Jalen Hurts to play in that game, but like I said, I wouldn't put his health in jeopardy, as well as putting the Eagles' Super Bowl chances in jeopardy.